It's time to bounce back. It is game day in 3 days. And do you know what we do on this show 3 days before game day? Okay, we got a joint episode. We're bringing somebody in from the enemy camp, but it's okay. It's okay. They are not an enemy. We come in peace. We come in peace. Let's talk a preview. Jets, Titans, right here, right now. Boy Green meets Wudi.
Zoinks! It is unequivocally the Super Bowl for New York Jet fans.
Field Yates, baby. Field Gosh darn Yates. Let's bring him on the show.
Come on, people. Connor Rogers is joining the show. What's up, Connor? But Trevor Gosh darn Sycamore, baby, for me, personally, my favorite New York Jet of all time.
Wow, it's great to be on. What an intro that was right there.
Paul, nobody does an intro like you, man.
Paul, you give the best intro of literally any podcast that I've ever been.
I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas.
Welcome to another episode of Boy Green Meets Wudi. It is your boy, and I guarantee you, I am Wudi, rocking everywhere, okay? And we got the boy who became king. He is king of the coffee club, Boy Green himself. But we're not done. We are not done because it's Titans week. So we need a Titans representative. And who better than the co-host of the F Words podcast? Hopefully there will be no F words this show. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. We might get excited. But please bring on down Mike Herndon. How you doing?
No, I'm doing good. Thanks for the intro. And yeah. The F word is football.
Okay.
Okay. That was my first guess. On the F word there. And obviously, Mike, you also do wonderful work, columnist at PaulKaharski.com, doing all your wonderful Tennessee Titans action there. I say this to a bunch of the people. The coolest thing that this show is able to do is when the Jets play all these opponents that they don't get to normally play all the time. I'm like, damn, I wish we played them more because I just love talking ball with Mike and all these other people that we get to do it with on a week-to-week basis, Mike. So it's great to have you back on the show, man.
Yeah, I love coming on with you guys and excited to talk ball with you again.
All right. Well, you know, Wudi started this off with, we're bringing someone from the enemy, but they're a friend. And, hey, let's put down the weapons. Nothing crazy here. I'm willing to do that for you, Mike, because you're just that type of guy. I like the cut of your jib. However, a guy that I don't know if everyone in our fan base will be is old Jamal Adams, who somehow has ended up on the Tennessee Titans. And I saw it today. Apparently, I think he said it yesterday. He said, Jamal Adams says, I'll be there. He missed the season opener with some sort of a hip injury. A lot of people could make jokes about that and maybe some oldness and Jamal and I won't go there because I'm above that. But I will throw it over to you, Mike, to say, what did the Titans see in Jamal Adams? And is he starting? Is he getting a significant role if he does play here in week 2, Jets Titans?
He will not be the starter. He is he's going to be kind of like a targeted weapon for this defense. So the starting safeties are going to be Quandre Diggs and Amani Hooker, who are both far superior players to Jamal Adams right now at this point in their careers. I think Adams is going to be used more in a specialized role as almost like a dime linebacker at times. Bring him in to blitz, play around the box, maybe play some big nickel with him. I think it's going to be more of that than anything else. And I don't expect it to be a huge role. I think maybe, you see 20, 25 snaps somewhere around there for Jamal Adams. And hopefully he's able to make an impact in that. They paid him peanuts, right? Like he's here on the same contract as UDFAs basically. So they're not expecting him to have a huge role here.
You know what's funny is that sometimes you have certain things with players and then they end up becoming when he was with the Jets at the end, a lot of people said he's just a linebacker. They made a joke, a safety, a linebacker playing safety. And now I heard it at the tail end of the Seattle where they're like, let's use him a little bit more as a straight up linebacker. And then now just your description of him, it's just like, that was funny. And now look where we are. Just sort of interesting.
When they announced that they were signing him, that was my first tweet. Was actually I made a joke that I said, "Oh, the Titans finally addressed the inside linebacker position." Little did I know I was actually making an accurate statement. I think he's going to see some snaps in there.
Yeah, go figure. Go ahead, Woody.
Well, let's reset the expectations a bit, because coming into the season, the New York Jets, you ask anybody who's in the chat of this podcast right now, Super Bowl, all this type of stuff, now a loss to the Niners, and it's like, are we going to win a game? Right? That's Jet Nation right now. What was the feeling in the Titans where, new coach, a whole lot of new players? I love the trio. I don't understand. Every single time I talk about this trio, I feel like the wide receiver trio is literally the best in the league, if not the top three. But people laugh at me. They put the red clown nose on my face when I say it. But what were the expectations for the Titans coming in? And then, of course, after Chicago, what has happened to those expectations? Are they still on track, or what is taking place?
I think there was a pretty wide split among the fan base coming into the season. Some were, not convinced at all that this team was going anywhere, but a lot of fans were, saying, "Hey, 10-7, we could sneak in, grab a wild card spot. Maybe, if something happens with Houston, maybe you can hang around in the division, make it competitive." Coming off of this last game against the Bears, this fan base is in a dark place right now. It was a bad game, but I mean, the wheels have completely come off the fan base. They are in full on panic mode about Will Levis. It is, everyone say, 0-17 is a real possibility here, which is crazy talk. I mean, come on, let's be honest. That game was won for 45 minutes and then thrown away by a dumb play by your quarterback. And which I get, that's part of it, but the fan base is in a dark spot. But I think this team is still pretty talented. You mentioned the trio of receivers. I think the cornerbacks are as good as just about anybody short of the Jets and the Browns. They've got a really good group there, and the defense was excellent in week one, like really good in week one, including their top pick on that side of the ball, their second rounder, Devondre Sweat, who was dominant inside. So it's an interesting start to the season for sure, but I'm not sure that expectations should be changed dramatically based off of week one for any team, right? Really, and that includes the Jets who didn't have a great week one, but I picked them to win the division. I'm still standing by that. I'm with them.
Preach.
I love that. Now, my next question is super deep cut. Everyone who's like, "Oh, I'm here for Jets Titans preview," they're going to hear this question go, "Whoa, where the hell did that come from?" But I just noticed it from the Titans because, we get to do, maybe it's just us being Jet fans. We're always at the top of the draft, so maybe that's why. I'm just a big draft guy. I love the draft, and then there's certain players who just fall in love with during the process. One of those players for me was Elijah Molden. Coming out of Washington, a third-round pick, and in the draft, I'm like, "Ooh, Elijah Molden, that's my guy, man. If someone drafts him, he's going to be a stud." And the Titans end up getting him. He's this third-round draft choice. And I'm like, man, what a steal for the Titans. This guy's going to be a stud, says Scout Boy Green, self-titled Scout Boy Green. And then I saw this offseason, the Titans flipped him for a bag of Doritos, a 2025 seventh-round pick. So let me get this straight. Was my scouting notebook off, which again would hurt me to my core as a diehard, again, self-titled scout, or what happened here? Because Elijah Molden just seemed like this awesome, just football player. And I said, "Oh man, what a great fit he's going to be with Tennessee." And I saw he got traded for a bag of peanuts.
I really liked Elijah Molden too, especially where they got him, because I was like, I thought he was going to be a second-round pick. They got him at pick 100 or something like that. Yeah. And I was very high on him in that spot, but he had a couple issues working against him. First, he's small. He's 5'9", 5'10", 190, 180 pounds, undersized for a safety. He's a little guy, and he's not fast. He's like a 4.65 guy. So small, not fast, But he's a dog, right? Like he has got that like baller mentality. He can make plays. He made some plays early in his career when he was playing in the nickel for the Titans that a lot of people were high on him. And then he ended up getting hurt. And then he kind of stayed hurt. He had a like recurring groin issue. They kind of kept him sidelined. And then, he just kind of fell out of their plans at some point. And then the new regime comes in and, I don't think he was a fit for what they wanted. And look, they went out and got a couple of Denard Wilson's kind of pet players and Quandre Diggs and then Jamal Adams. And, he just didn't have a place anymore. And I think Molden actually wanted the trade and asked for the trade, and they went ahead and granted it because, he just kind of wasn't in their plans for the season and he's going to be a free agent next year. So I think it was just kind of them moving on from a guy that kind of just fallen out of favor here.
So is my impeccable scouting record intact or what?
I think it's still intact. I think had he not been hurt, I think he would still have a role on this team. I think it's just one of those things. If you can't stay on the field, you can't, the team's not going to plan around you.
Blessed be he. Okay. Wudi, go ahead. Yeah.
Well, one thing that I think all Jets fans are looking at right now is the running situation. All right. Jordan Mason, that it is. All right. Jordan Mason, 150 yards. 150 yards.
Listen, the pride of Gallatin High School here, just right outside of Nashville.
Hey, there you go.
My God. So let me put some respect. I apologize.
Go Green Wave.
Yeah.
I apologize. Let me put some respect on his name. He did some serious work against this New York Jets defense. Tony Pollard, who literally won me fantasy 2 years ago. Then last year, they shipped Zeke out and he wasn't, fantastic. Had a good week one. All right, 5 yards per carry, touchdown. Is he about to run wild all over my team this Sunday? What do you think about Tony Pollard and his prospects this week and for the season?
Yeah, I thought Tony Pollard was really good in week one. He was really good all preseason too. He's looked good since coming over here. Obviously, we're still pretty early on in that. But last year, he was kind of dealing with an injury as he started the season, and it didn't feel like he really started to click and feel like himself till later in the year if you listen to him tell it. So I think he's a guy that was a good buy low by the Titans. I think he's primed to kind of get back to that 2022 and earlier Tony Pollard. And look, their other back, Tajay Spears, is talented in his own right. He was their third-round pick last year and had a good season kind of as the number 2 behind Henry. And I think that split is going to tighten up between the two. Brian Callahan talked this week that he kind of regretted not getting Spears more action, more involved in the game plan in this game. So I think you're going to see a little bit closer to the 55-45 split that we mostly expected coming into this year between Pollard and Spears. So I think both are going to get a lot of work, and I think Pollard's been really good, but I think it's going to be a pretty clear split between the two.
I'm curious, speaking of that running game, again, that Jordan Mason, the pride of Tennessee Titans fans locally there.
That's right.
With him, baptizing the New York Jets in a lot of different fashions on Monday Night Football, every team that the Jets face for the foreseeable future would be crazy not to at least attempt to copy and paste the same thing over and over. But I'm curious from an offensive perspective, as Brian Callahan, the leader of the new ship there for the Tennessee Titans, if you invest too much in running the football, you got to think that the Jets, for their preparation, are doing everything in their power to make sure that that's not the thing that beats them, if anything beats them, heading into week 2. So how much work do the Titans do in doing a copy-paste versus doing whatever they would have normally done, because the Jets are probably focusing on that a lot here in game week?
Yeah, I mean, I think you definitely have to try it and kind of see where it's going. But I don't think you build your whole game plan around the idea that you're going to be able to do what the 49ers did. Because, frankly, Kyle Shanahan's a wizard in the run game, and he's able to get incredible running performances out of anybody. I mean, we saw him make Raheem Mostert's career. I mean, all these guys that have come through there, like the whole Dolphins backfield basically now owes their careers to Kyle Shanahan. Yeah, he's awesome. And it's a very different run scheme for Tennessee than what Shanahan is. If you'd asked me 2 years ago, I would have said, yeah, it's going to be pretty similar. A lot of outside zone and that kind of thing. The Titans have gotten away from that under Brian Callahan. Now they're more of a gap run team. You're going to see a lot of power. You're going to see a lot of pin and pull. You're going to see those kind of things coming downhill with Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears, particularly behind J.C. Latham and Peter Skoronski, who both had really good games as run blockers. We can talk about the pass protection later if you want. I'd rather not, but we can do it. But the run blocking on that left side is really strong, and I think they will try that early, but I don't think that they should build the whole game plan around it.
That's funny.
Well, I want to talk about Coach Callahan. Not Brian, but Bill Callahan joining his son, and what he's done in this league. I mean, you look at last year, the amount of injuries that Browns offensive line had, and they were able to make the playoffs with Joe Flacco, who I don't know where he is. Do you guys know? Do you know where Joe
He's
Flacco
the
is?
Colts backup.
Yeah.
Colts. Okay. All right. Well, you know better than me because he pretty much – 2 pick sixes, but that offensive line got him there. And now Bill is doing his thing, father and son down there in Tennessee. I do want to talk about the pass protection, unfortunately. I'm so sorry. But we got to address the team. I mean, what do you see going on there? And what value does Bill, one of the best in the game, being down there, what value do you think he has for that unit?
Yeah, I think he's extremely valuable in that. I think there's maybe 2 or 3 offensive line coaches in this league that make a real difference in putting together a unit and consistently just getting high-end offensive line play. And I think Bill Callahan's one of them. I think long-term it's going to pay off for the Titans. I think this offensive
Carter
line,
another one of them? You said
no, he's not on my short list. He's not on my short list.
I was thinking the same thing, but
my old friend Keith is not on the short list there.
Yeah, go ahead.
But I think it'll pay off in the long term. This is a super young offensive line. Their ages from left to right are 21, 23, 26, 26, 24. That's the ages of the starting offensive line. This is a young group. Only one of them is not on their rookie contract. That's kind of where we're sitting right now. So I think it's going to pay off in the long term. But it's going to take some time for this group to come together. And I thought Latham and Skoronski, like I said, both looked really good as run blockers. Latham's power is unbelievable. Like, y'all get a trip out of watching him just because he is 6'6", 342 pounds, and like one of the most crazily built dudes you'll ever see in your life. Just thick from top to bottom, super strong, not a fat part of his body. I mean, that dude is just strong. He can move bodies in the run game. Pass protection, not so great yet. I think he's physically capable of doing it. I don't think it's a foot speed issue. I think he can move just fine. I think it's all technique. And look, like I said, he's a 21-year-old kid making his first start at a position he hasn't played since high school, right? Like he flipped from right side to the left side, coming from Alabama, where he played right tackle exclusively. So it's going to be a work in progress. It was bad. Like he made Darrell Taylor look like Lawrence Taylor in week 1. So I think that's not a great sign for the immediate future, but I think long-term he's going to be just fine.
Earlier you mentioned that you believe and let me make sure I heard you right, that you believe the Titans group of corners is up there among the best in the NFL with a bunch of others. Is that what you said, Mike?
I'd say top 5-ish. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I just want to make sure I had it right. Can you, and this may be insulting to Titans land, but to tell it's all and maybe it's the Tennessee Titans thing that it's who they are. So naturally people aren't going to know all the names to the same level, but to the 1,200 people that are watching this right now, I'm curious, who are the names? Who are the trio, if that is the group that you're referencing, as among the best? Because Jet fans love to pound our chest about Sass Gadna and Michael Carter II and DJ Reed and the depth of guys like Brandon Eccles, who has starting experience, and Quantez Diggers, who's been the story of the offseason for the Jets, and all these other guys. Who's the story of the Tennessee Titans? Because I'm going to be honest, I don't think much of a national spotlight's been placed on them.
No, I think it's probably been like 1,200 days since they've been on like one of those morning talking head shows. Like they just don't get talked about at all, which is fine. I mean, we're used to it down here. But I would say this group is really good. L'Jarius Sneed, people know him. They traded for him this offseason. He's a really good corner. Top end, I think he's that ESPN poll where they pull the coaches and executives for each player. He was in the top 10 among corners. He's a top end, top flight kind of corner. They also signed Chidobe Awuzie from the Bengals in the offseason. He's played really well in week one. They think he's going to be a good player for them. And then Roger McCreary, their slot corner, was 35th overall pick 2 years ago. Had an okay rookie season. They were playing him outside and inside, but he kind of found a home in the slot last year and allowed 0 touchdowns over the course of last season. Played really good football. I mean, it was kind of lost in just a lost year for the Titans overall, but Roger McCreary had one of the quieter nationally breakouts. I would say he's a really good player and was excellent in week one against the Bears. I mean, look, the Bears, Caleb Williams is going to get better. And he was a rookie playing in his very first game. I get it. But the Titans also did something there to stifle him. And they've got a super talented receiver trio in DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and Rome Odunze. And they shut him down. I mean, there was not open throws for him consistently throughout the day. He missed 2 or 3 that would have given him a little bit better day, but they weren't going to have a big day against this Titans secondary the way that they were playing. So I think the cornerback group for Tennessee is very good. I think it's slept on. And I think the safeties are pretty good too. And Quandre Diggs, who obviously they brought over late. And then Amani Hooker, who's the other starter. Again, not a guy that's well known nationally, but has been a really solid player here for many years and is, still, I think, just 26 years old, even though he's been in the league like 6 years. He was 20 when they drafted him. So, he's a solid player and he had a great game as well for them in week one. So it's a talented group. We'll see how they hold up against Garrett Wilson and a much tougher quarterback matchup, in my opinion, in Aaron Rodgers. The opposite of a rookie playing his first game. But, it's a good group.
Yeah, Caleb Williams, for those who missed it, 93 passing yards. That's unbelievable. And now you go from rookie first game ever to a guy in his 20th season. I mean, that's bizarre. Go ahead, Wudi.
Well, I actually know Caleb's stats pretty well because I started him in fantasy.
Oh,
so
my apologies. Yeah,
all good. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. But you actually literally just went into what I was going to ask. Jets fans, we definitely beat the chest. Take any Jets fan's chest is red because they beat it over somebody's, Sauce, Michael Carter. But on the other side of the ball, Garrett Wilson, I'm sure there are plenty of people eating a bacon, egg, and cheese right now listening to this podcast talking about L'Jarius who? I don't care about none of these people. Give me Garrett Wilson. He's going for 100 yards, all that type of stuff. Is there, where in your game plan would you say you are most concerned? Is it Rodgers throwing? Is it, lock in on Garrett? We didn't talk about Breece Hall. Are there players on the Jets that give you the heebie-jeebies, or are you confident in, the D-line that we didn't even talk about, Jeffrey Simmons, how are you feeling about the matchup against the Jets offense?
I think the big question is going to be Rodgers. I think that's the guy that scares me because I think he's capable of going nuclear at any minute, right? And there's just not a whole lot you can do with him. You're not going to trick him, with exotic blitz calls like I think they were able to do with Caleb Williams. And this is going to be a team that in the Titans that has to blitz to get pressure, right? They don't have prolific edge rushers. Harold Landry is good. He's not a great edge rusher. He's not going to just take over a game and win one-on-one over and over and over again. He needs to be schemed up a little bit. He did have a sack in week one, but again, it was on a stunt coming around. So they're going to need to scheme up pressure a little bit. And if you can't get pressure on Rodgers consistently, I think you're in for a long day, regardless of what you got on the back end. Because eventually he's going to find somebody that's open. You can only plaster so long. So I think that's kind of the biggest fear there. Because I do think the interior of the Tennessee defensive front with Sweat and Simmons you're not going to move those guys. I mean, I think the Jets have a good offensive line. They played well in week 1. I don't think you're going to move those guys in the middle of that Titans defense. You're going to have to find other ways to run the ball. You can try to attack the edges, but they do have athletic linebackers who can flow. So I think this run defense is going to be hard to run on. I think it's going to come down to whether or not Rodgers and Garrett Wilson and company can kind of torch that secondary. But it'll be an interesting cat and mouse game a little bit, I think, because they're going to have to bring pressure. They're going to have to bring linebackers. They're going to have to bring, maybe Jamal Adams, y'all's old buddy, on some blitzes. And it's going to be whether or not they can get him before Rodgers gets them, right? Like, I think that's going to be the cat and mouse game throughout the game. This is going to be the most interesting thing to watch on that side of the ball.
By the way, a member of the Boy Green Coffee Club said, "Gotta love their old Campbell jersey back there." So getting a lot of love here on YouTube. Horns, horns up. I did want to ask you real quick with Hookham. L'Jarius Sneed, is he going to be shadowing Garrett Wilson?
I don't know. It's kind of an interesting thing. They've talked about shadowing. He didn't really shadow in week 1. They played sides for the most part. Between him and Awuzie. And they also rotated in their rookie, Jarvis Brownlee Jr., who they're very high on. I didn't mention him when we were talking about the corners, but he may see some snaps in this game as well. But they like him a lot. They want to play physical at the line of scrimmage, a lot of press coverage. And so you're going to see a lot of that from all 3 or all 4 of those guys, really. I don't know if Sneed will shadow Wilson or not, because the Bears were a little bit more balanced. I mean, Moore, Allen, Odunze, kind of all the same level types of guys, in theory. I think Moore is probably the best of the bunch, but not by like leaps and bounds. I think Garrett Wilson's the best of the Jets bunch by leaps and bounds. So I think if you're going to shadow, this would be a week to do it. And if Lazard or Mike Williams or whoever else can kind of come to life and beat you, then so be it. But I would not be wanting Garrett Wilson to be the reason I lost this game.
And I want to follow up but with a completely different player. I just want to make sure that I get this in there. One player that I really love, the nickname really gets me, Chiggy. Your Titans tight end. What does he bring to the table? I've heard a lot of fantasy people always whispering in my ear about Chiggy. What could you tell us about this guy?
He had a great play in week 1 to catch that touchdown pass. Jumping over the back of a defensive player and made a really great play in the end zone. He's talented. Like, he's a undersized, very athletic tight end. Like, he can really run. But he's only, I think, maybe 6'2", 238 pounds, somewhere around there. So undersized guy. He's more of like a beefy wide receiver, So I think that how they use him is going to be interesting, because they're going to use Josh Wiley a lot too, their other tight end, who's more of your traditional, like, he's 6'7", he's like 250 something pounds, and he's more of your seam stretcher, traditional tight end versus Chig. So it'll be interesting to see how they work him in. Chig is their best run after catch player, though, on offense. So getting him the ball, getting the running backs the ball, I think is going to be a focus, because I don't know that you're going to want to throw at the wide receivers as good as the wide receivers are. And I do think the Titans have some talented wide receivers on this team, finally, for the first time maybe in franchise history, at least since the Warren Moon era back in Houston. They've got a good group of wide receivers, a deep group, but those corners are so good for the Jets that I don't know that I would want to test those guys as much as I would want to test CJ Mosley and Quincy Williams in coverage against Chig in the backs and things like that. So I think I'd be looking for those guys to be a little bit bigger part of the game plan this week.
Mike, we could talk ball all day, man, but I just love that we're able to do this every time the Jets and Titans get to play. So I'm looking forward to the next one, man. It's always great chatting it up with you, and just wanted to thank you, man, for joining us on the show, man.
Of course. I always love catching up with you. So much fun talking ball. We always have a good time. So anytime you want to have me on, anytime the Titans do anything worth talking about, just give me a call.
Yes, absolutely. Great. Well, great to meet you from my perspective.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And have you on the show. I don't know how to say this as cordially as possible. I want to say good luck, but I also don't I want to win.
He doesn't mean it. That's he wouldn't mean
False
it.
good luck. Yeah.
Yeah. Hope everybody stays healthy. I can say this. Good luck for the season. for the
There we
season.
go. There we go. Yeah.
And that thing that you just said, Mike, I don't want that to get lost. After a lot of Jet fans on the 0-1 after the season, this season, like, oh, well, our Rodgers is there because last year was 1-0, no Rodgers. 0-1, Rodgers. I like that trade-off. So, yes, the virtual health, I do that. We do this every Thursday, bringing on an opponent from the opposite side. Let's kick each other's ass. Let's have a pint after the game. No injuries, and God bless, and let's keep moving through the season, buddy.
That's right. Absolutely. And then 15 straight wins for each of us afterwards.
There we go. See you in the NFC Championship game. Woo-hoo!
Absolutely.
That's it. Beautiful. Mike, thanks for joining us on the show, man. We'll have to do this again soon.
Happy to do it. Thanks for having me.
All right, there he is. Mike Herndon joining us here on the show. Wudi, any final thoughts, man, to the 1,500 people that are in the room right now?
1,500 just gotta, raise the roof real quick. I don't have any final thoughts. I mean, it was a great time. Obviously, Mike, a great person to have, great insight about this team. I feel good about the game. I do. I'm expecting a Jet victory. Everyone who's, frowning, I tried to turn those frowns upside down on Tuesday. Didn't really work. Still getting lit up in the DMs.
Mm-hmm.
We tried to thanks, Carly. That's pretty funny. But now we spoke to Mike. We seen enemy camp, what we got to work on, or what they're looking to do. I think it's excellent perspective. So hopefully let us know in the comments, whether it's right now or you're watching this later. Let us know if you like these, behind enemy lines type episodes. I personally thoroughly enjoy them. But if you say, we don't want to hear that, let us know, because we are responsive.
That's for sure. This is my second Titans conversation today. Shout out to Easton Freeze, who was on Boy Green Daily this morning. Mike Herndon I've known for a long time, so it's great to have him on. So, I feel like I'm getting an even better scope on this Jets-Titans game. But, Wudi, it should be noted before we sign off, and thank you to everyone who's watching. Make sure, as Curly Norman says, hit the like button, you freaks. So make sure you like the video, hit subscribe, and show the support. But, Wudi, we're not doing one of these next week. There is no third-party Thursday because, well, I don't know where you will be at 3 o'clock on Thursday, but I know I will have already arrived to the MetLife Stadium area for Jets-Patriots Thursday night football and getting ready for the festivities, because I'm doing, and it'll be with you, of course, Wudi, we're doing the Boy Green Daily that morning, and then I'm hopping in the car, grabbing the family. Let's go. Pack the luggage. Hopefully that happens before the show, for the love of God, so I can hop in the car and immediately head over to the New Jersey area, because, of course, we'll be tailgating and meeting each other for the first time for Jets-Patriots, baby.
Yeah, I cannot wait. I truly don't know what I'll be doing at 3 p.m. next Thursday.
Yeah.
But I am doing Boy Green Daily that morning. We will talk to Wudi. We're going to talk about the 3 different things worth looking at during this massacre of that horrific team in New England, right? And then I'm flying in the airplane, landing at LaGuardia. And yes, I will be at the game. I'm so excited to meet this boy who became king right here, but also so excited to meet every one of you in the comments that are saying, I'll be at MetLife, baby. Well, guess what? I'll be at MetLife too, baby. So it'll be a great time. We'll try to see if we can go behind enemy lines on Tuesday, I believe.
Yes.
The plan.
Yeah,
because we want to speak to somebody from Pat's Media and explain why we are the much superior franchise now and for the foreseeable future. So
yeah. Well, I see there's one individual, Brandon Roberts, who I see here on YouTube, who say can't wait to see this or that or the Patriots winning. Brandon, I'm glad that you grabbed that piece of paper because I'd like you to grab a pen. I've got one for you if you need it. The Patriots are going to get their ass kicked. So, okay, again, Professor Esden here. Nice to meet you, Brandon. You've been an unruly student in the back of the class throughout the entire show, but I just want to make sure I give you your proper attention, your proper TLC, because obviously your parents didn't give it to you. So, Brandon, here's what I'm going to do for you, buddy. The Patriots are going to get their ass kicked, and what I want you to do is be a good little boy and sit there and take it. because that's what's going to happen. We are the one in Jetsland that have the receipts for you, buddy boy. And after all of the BS that the Jets have had to undertake over the last several, years, you're the one, sir, that better be ready. Please, sir, can I have some more when we bid slap your ass next week? So, Brandon Roberts, I've seen you doing the talky talk, and it's about damn time that the Patriots get a taste of what the rest of the NFL is like. And by the way, I want to personally thank you, Brandon, for beating the Cincinnati Bengals. You may say, Paul, why the hell are you thanking me? Because the Patriots suck. They're probably going 1-16. So I'm glad you got the one win where it matters and you didn't beat some rando trash team. You beat the Bengals, which is great. That's going to help the Jets where we're getting the number 1 seed in the AFC later this year. So I want to personally thank you, Brandon, because every blind squirrel can find a nut. And I knew I could believe in you guys to find something. So I'm glad it happened week 1 for you because, again, we're going to beat you with a rusty wrench. And when the ref says, we should probably stop, I'm going to be like, oh, okay. And then I'm going to jump on you again and beat you with another wrench. So just get ready for what's going to happen, and I can't wait to see that in person. So God bless. Thank you so much for jumping on. No, go ahead, Woody.
Just wanted to clarify, we are referring to Brandon Roberts.
Yes.
Oh, not Brandon Bradshaw. My man Bradshaw.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Nothing but love.
I see that here. Yes. I keep saying Brandon, and Brandon's like cowering in fear about getting beaten with different styles of wrench. No. Brandon Bradshaw, you're great. And Brandon's going to be at the Jets-Titans game this weekend, so I hope you, buddy. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a great game. I agree with Woody, who I believe he said at the beginning of the interview about a bounce back. I completely agree. So hopefully Brandon Bradshaw, a.k.a. Badshaw, you enjoy that one. But your other Brandon, I'm not sure if there's any relation, is going to get absolutely smacked. Brandon, you say 15 win streak. It's over. You lost, loser. And so did Bill Belichick at the end of that one. So we're the one who's on the streak now, sucker boy. We're the one who's 1-0. But before we sign off, baby, it's raining gosh darn memberships from the high heavens, and I'm glad. So, yes, let's friggin' roll. And, Woody, if you can help me count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, baby. Roll those counts. There it is, baby. There it is. Those chimes raining from the high heaven. Shout out to Rick Ken for gracing us with 5 new memberships. Shout out to Keenan Good, Richard Todd 14. Okay, former Jets quarterback. Great. Joshua Langley, Benoit, and Julio Kelly. You are all now members of the Boy Green Coffee Club, which, by the way, for those counting at home, if you were a little curious here as we're continuing the countdown for old Terrence, Woody was confused when I asked him to flip the switch. Woody, can you do it now? Can you flip the switch, sir?
Got you. Here it is.
Click. There we go. 13 members away from Terrence being forever immortalized in emoji form. And this includes Rick Ken's generous gift of 5 memberships raining from the high heavens. So beautiful, Rick. And by the way, Terrence should be back coming up over the next couple of days, baby, as we get ready for that. Terrence is coming back from Cabo. He's currently in Cabo. He'll be coming, over the weekend. We'll see if we'll have that emoji waiting for him. Go ahead, Woody.
Just wanted to point out, we spoke a lot about next Thursday and who's going to be there. Shout out. This is a huge milestone for me. First football game with my dear old dad. All right. Paul Esden Sr.
Yes.
He is in the chat. He is so proud of you, Boy Green. All right. Your progress from last week, being able to count the 4. You was getting stuck. You went 4, 7, just all that.
Had some
struggle.
trouble.
And now, here you are, made it your way to 5. We are all proud of you, Boy Green.
Well, I'm glad that you finally get to meet your father, Woody. So that'll be great next week. Finally, He'll step up in his fatherly role, as every good father should, for God's sakes, out there. And I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I'll get to meet you. I know several of our listeners will be heading out. The tickets are sold, everybody. So if those want to go, you can try to get Jets Patriots tickets on your own market, but you can certainly party with us. I've been told it is our tailgate special is in Lot E. It is with Tailgate Joe, Lot E. If you want the food and drink and stuff, you could go through tailgatejoe.com and get all that set up if you'd like. We're no longer collecting it through us anymore. We have all that already sent in. But feel free to come by and meet me, Wudi, and everybody that's going to be there for the event. It's going to be a terrific event. It's going to be live for 4 hours before the game. I don't know if I'm going to be there for the full 4 hours myself, but I'll be there for a significant chunk as we're all hanging out and getting ready for it. So I can't wait, Wudi. It's going to be fun. Again, only a week away.
Ooh, can't wait. And, before that, we have to get through this game first. So
of course.
That's against these Titans. We will be talking on Boy Green Daily on the day of about actual score predictions and what's worth looking at. But spoiler alert.
Yeah.
I don't think this team is on our level. That's all I got to say about that.
And here we go. This is why is it important? Well, the Jets got to win as many games as they can. That's importance number one, obviously. But here it is also. This is an analytic from recent time. It's only slightly missing a few years. But from 1990 to 2022, 265 teams started 0-2. So let me ask you, Wudi, we'll do a trivia question that you're not prepared for. How many, so from 1990 to 2022, 265 teams started 0-2. How many of those do you believe made the playoffs? Out of 265 that
20.
started 0-2, how many do you think made the playoffs? What's the number?
20.
It was 30. A little more.
That's pretty close.
Yeah, it's pretty close. So essentially, about 11% of teams that started 0-2 made the playoffs. In other words, 89%. There's the math, Dad. I told you, my father and my math teacher in high school, I told you I'd use that for something. That means 89% of teams don't make the playoffs when they start 0-2. Now, obviously, there's 7 teams that make the playoffs now, so the numbers need to be adjusted a little bit, but you get the point. It is very, very difficult to make the playoffs and start yourself in that kind of hole and to be able to make up the difference, especially when you consider the level of opponent, with all due respect. With all due respect. Now I can say whatever I want. Sorry, Mike. And now that you're off the show, I can talk whatever kinds of shit I want to talk. But you're like, the same sort of thing that Wudi said. I don't believe they're on our level, and it's time to show it. It's time to flex because good teams, okay, you could talk about the 49ers loss, and we did. But good teams beat teams they're supposed to beat. And the Jets need to prove they could do that this weekend. So with that being said, I wanted to put that out there. Thank you to the 1,700 people that are in the room right now. Like the video, hit subscribe. I'm live personally every single day on this channel, 7:30 in the morning for Boy Green Daily. We're live every Tuesday and Thursday at 3 o'clock outside of next week because I will be traveling to the Jets-Patriots game. So it'll be light exceptions during this run of Boy Green Meets Wudi. But, guys, all kinds of content all the time. And, of course, we're also live with every postgame show 2 hours after the final whistle, which I'm looking forward to. In a more reasonable time frame, this Titans game is at 1 o'clock on Sunday. So, 6:30, somewhere in that ballpark is when we'll be going live on Sunday to talk about it. Hopefully we hear from our favorite Brandon, not Roberts, Bradshaw, in terms of him live from Tennessee to make that happen. So that should be terrific. Excellent. And 1 second here. I just want to answer a question. I've gotten this question a lot. So I see K-Brock coming in here as a member of the Boy Green Coffee Club. Can we come by even if we aren't eating or anything with you guys? I'm tailgating with other people. Absolutely you can. I don't have any bodyguards or security people that say, are you on the list? And if you're not, they talk. Anyone, even if you don't want to pay for the food or drink special, which you don't have to if you don't want to, I don't get any commission off that anyway. So if you want to get fed and drink, go ahead. But I don't get anything out of it. I just thought it was nice to provide food and drink for all the people that are attending because it's like a party. It's like a little shindig. So yes, you could just still roll up and come hang out with us. For instance, a perfect example is Jake Asman. I'm not going to hold him to it because I'm sure he's going to be a busy guy, but he's supposed to be coming over from his own tailgate thing to meet with us at our tailgate thing to just talk and hang out and do a little bit as well at some point during the day. So 100%, you do not have to buy anything from Tailgate Joe to come hang out with us. It'll be me, Nick Shine, Wudi, my father, and so many other cool Jet fans and Boy Green Coffee Club members that will be coming as well. And I see one more from Bradshaw here. Tailgate Joe be in Nashville this week. Is it worth checking out his food, Paul? I can't speak to it yet because I've never worked with him before, but I've heard wonderful reviews and I believe his menu changes too. But you guys can go check out more information at tailgatejoe.com. He's doing some sort of a taco special for Jets Patriots. I don't know what he's doing in Nashville. I'm not sure if it's topical to who they're playing, where they're playing, that they change up the food or things of that nature. But again, tailgatejoe.com is where you guys can get that. So I don't want to send you guys down the wrong road. I can't speak to the validity of the food. I haven't had it myself, but I've heard wonderful reviews from other people, and that's why we partnered with them. So shout out to Nick Shine, who's worked with Tailgate Joe before, apparently. So he says wonderful things about it. So if Nick said it, how could it possibly be wrong, for God's sakes? Absolutely terrific. Shout out again to Rick Kemp. Thank you so much for the 5 memberships. And again, we're getting closer and closer for Terrence to unlocking his emoji, which is awesome. And shout out to K-Brock. He'll definitely come through and meet us there, which will be great.
Let's go! K-Brock!
Yeah, Jets Patriots, baby. Thursday Night Football. It'll be a lot of fun. But for tonight on Thursday Night Football, we'll end it with this, Woody. We have AFC East competition to keep an eye out for. The Buffalo Bills, Miami Dolphins. Number 1, who are you rooting for, if anybody? And then number 2, who do you have winning the game tonight?
Rooting for nobody. I mean, the both teams can lose. They can, 0-0.
Excellent. Great.
Yeah. But who's going to win? I'll go with the Bills.
I am too. And I'm going to be honest. I am rooting. I don't know why. I guess rooting for a tie is the best answer, Curly Norman says here, which I appreciate, Curly. Thanks for coming on. Make sure you join the Boy Green Coffee Club, by the way, Curly. It's in the YouTube description down below. Punch in your own ticket to the Boy Green Coffee Club. Become a member of the YouTube channel. I've loved all your interactions today. That's been a lot of fun. The Bills have won 11 of 12 matchups against the Dolphins. Like, they've been beating their ass. And the only time the Dolphins won was a very weird game that the Dolphins won 21-19. The Bills ran out of time. Several of their players left the game from heat exhaustion. Like, it was very weird how that happened. So, again, Bills have won 11 of 12, and then the only one they lost was the one weird one. So, I don't know. I mean, the Dolphins going to have to prove it. Again, as Brandon Roberts would like to say, the Patriots beat the Jets 15 times in a row, but eventually it ends. Eventually it stops randomly. So you could do what you will with the numbers, but the Dolphins, by the way, are 2.5-point favorite at home despite those numbers, so we'll see. My gut tells me the Bills, but I hope not, because Bills fans are super annoying. But so are Dolphins fans. Yeah, I root for a tie. I changed my opinion. It's a tie. They lose 0-0.
Dolphins are my least favorite team in the NFL by a large margin. And they are without their top 2 running backs.
It looks like it. Devon Achane is a game-time decision tonight, unless you've seen something that I have not seen.
No, you're right. You're 100% right. So without their top running back, I mean, Jets fans, they might have PTSD from hearing that statement.
Wow.
And McDaniel does come from the Shanahan coaching tree, but speed is speed. Jeff Wilson does not have that same speed of
Jalen Wright, people. If he's still available in your fantasy, now's your last chance to get Jalen Wright before he blows up. I think he's going to be really good for Miami. So if he's available in your fantasy league, the Tennessee product, I might take an old roundhouse kick of the tires on old Jalen Wright. So you're welcome in advance, fantasy football people. Jalen Wright is someone I might kick the tires on.
Is Josh's hand okay? I heard that it is definitely hurting him.
Yeah.
It's his left hand. What I think that would affect is, if you're a betting man, is that rushing yard over. I would not do that because if your hand hurts, you're not trying to engage in physical contact. So throwing motion should be fine.
Yeah, I spoke to a few Buffalo Bills people. I heard from a Bills person today that there might be a wrap on his hand and that they're hiding a brace underneath the wrap to apparently not freak out. He's got this thing on his hand. So that's what I heard from Buffalo Bill. We'll see if that's true, but they believe it's okay. Again, to Woody's point, non-throwing hand. So we'll see. again, it'll be interesting. At least this is an interesting game. We could say that unbiased Jet fans. We take a step
Definitely.
back. At least we have a captivating game that obviously has direct interest with our chances and hopes of winning the AFC East. So we will take a gander at what that is. Again, to the nearly 1,800 people in the room, what a awesome show today was. I'm glad that the show's growing. Shout out to Mike again. Mike Herndon's one of the best in the business. I love talking to that guy. He's been a great friend to me. And Jets Titans, it's awesome. So great that we're able to bring it to the show. And I'm hoping next week I'll have to do some pivots. Taylor Kyles wanted to join me on game day, but that's Wudi's day. So I'm going to see if we can get Taylor Kyles on our third party Tuesday and see if we can make that happen for next week, because that would be terrific. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. It should be a lot of fun. Again, thanks everybody for tuning in. Make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe. Also follow, because we're streaming live on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/BoyGreen25, Twitter @BoyGreen25, and the James Wudi on Instagram. Show your support no matter where you're watching it. Appreciate you guys, and you guys take care. Enjoy the Thursday Night Football tonight. We will see you, me and Wudi, together next Tuesday. I'll see you tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. For some more Jets-Titans action. I just have a third consecutive Titans insider joining me tomorrow morning. So I'm going to know more about the Titans than I do my own family. And we'll see if that helps at all. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Take care.